Good morning. Today is Thursday, April 13th. We are in room 329, and this is the Committee on Human Services. We have just a handful of Senate concurrent resolutions this morning, so we're going to jump right in and get started. And we may have to take a brief recess in order to have quorum for vote taking, but for now, let's get going. So we're going to start off with SCR 6, requesting that the Department of Human Services MedQuest Division to expand the types of qualified providers allowed to provide lactation consultant services for the Medicaid population in the state. Up first to testify, we have Kathy Betts, the Director of Department of Human Services of Hawaii, providing comments. Next, we have Krista Olson from Latch Lactation Access Transforming Communities in Hawaii on Zoom. Not present. Moving on. We have Peggy Mirza, Hawaii Pacific Health Institute in support. Not present. Next, we have Ellie Molpeter, the Academy of Lactation Policy and Practice in support on Zoom. Present.
Yes.
Please
Hi, thank you very much, chairs and vice chair and member of the committee. We stand on our written testimony submitted to the committee in support, and would just like to quickly address the rationale again to include CLCs and IBCLCs in this resolution. This is based on the model policy for payer coverage, which was written to inform the Affordable Care Act coverage requirements. Both CLCs and IBCLCs are nationally and independently accredited by an outside agency to ensure that the certification examinations have both validity, fairness, and reliability. We would like to mention that the House resolution does not currently use the same language as this Senate resolution, and just for the purpose of clarity and to avoid confusion on behalf of the MedQuest division, we would recommend that the House resolution be amended to match this Senate resolution to include both CLCs and IBCLCs as qualified providers eligible for coverage. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Moving on, we received late testimony from Don Carisu in support.
Don Carisu on behalf of HST, we stand on our written testimony.
Good morning. Thank you. And finally, on this measure, we received testimony in support from Patricia Billick. And that's it for testimony on this. Members, any questions? Not seeing none. All right, then we'll be moving on to SCR 51. Requesting the Department of Human Services immediately cease intercepting Social Security payments for children in foster care. We received comments from Kathy Betts from DHS. Boy, it's a quiet room today. Moving quickly.
Yeah.
Next, we received late testimony from Amy C. Harfield, the Children's Advocacy Institute in support. And we received late testimony from Olu Nunan, an individual in support on Zoom. Not present. Well, there's no one to ask questions of, members, but I'm happy to entertain any comments you'd like to make as well. Otherwise, I guess we move right along. Boy, this is going to be a nice, quick, clean morning. I like it. Moving on to SCR 55, urging Hawaii's congressional delegation to introduce and support legislation to amend Title 5-A of the Social Security Act to allow temporary assistance for needy family funds to be used by states to build transitional supportive housing and affordable rental housing.
Title 4.
Oh, thank you. Title 4. Thank you. So up first to testify we have Dean Minakami in support. Not present. We received comments from Kathy Betts of DHS. We received testimony in support in writing from Kaylee E. Lopez of AARP Hawaii. We also received testimony in support from Alan Johnson, the Hawaii Substance Abuse Coalition. And finally, we received testimony in support from an individual, Tadia Rice. Any comments, members, since there's no one to ask questions of?
Yeah.
All right, moving on to SCR 88. Requesting the Office of Wellness and Resilience establish the Malama Ohana Working Group to identify, design, and recommend transformative changes to the state's child welfare system. Up first, we received comments from Director Kathy Betts of DHS. And we also received testimony and support from Judith Clark on Zoom. Go ahead, Judy. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee, Vice Chair. I'm Judith Clark, Executive Director of Hawaii Youth Services Network, a statewide coalition of youth-serving organizations, and we are in strong support of this resolution. We recognize that Hawaiian and Pacific Islander children and youth are consistently overrepresented in the public welfare system. We need to work together to find ways to address this disparity, and placing Malama Ohana with the Governor's Office of Wellness and Resilience is a good choice to address this issue. Thank you for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Judy. Members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to our final resolution this morning. SCR 132, requesting the Department of Human Services MedQuest Division to take steps necessary to ensure adequate provider rates are established for applied behavior analysis services. Up first to testify, we have comments from Director Kathy Betts from DHS. Received testimony and support from Christine Walton, Behavior Analysis, Noko'oi, Inc. We also received testimony and support from Suzanne Eli, Maui Learning Academy. And let's see, not present. We received testimony and support on Zoom from Hawaii Analysis for Behavior Analysis. Haba, present. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Kristen Koba-Burke for the Hawaii Association for Behavior Analysis, or HUBA. We'll stand on our written testimony in support, and just thanking the committee for continuing to hear this issue. Our rates are not set by Medicare, so we are beholden to the state for any type of rate increases, and we're particularly focused on RBT rates. During the time we've been testifying on these resolutions, TRICARE has increased their rate again, so now $25.12 higher per hour than what we're receiving under Medicaid, and making it really difficult to be able to serve the children of the state. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Moving on, we received testimony from Jocelyn Miller from Bayada in support. Testimony from Judith Ursiti, Council of Autism Service Providers in support. Now we received testimony and support from a number of individuals. Is there anyone present that would like to testify on this measure? Please go ahead. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
No problem. Okay, so before we do that, give me just a second. Let's finish up this one. Okay, so is there anyone else wanting to testify on SCR 132? Members, any questions? Okay, so members, we're going to go back to SCR 88. Please come on up and testify.
Apologies.
No problem. Please state your name for the record.
Aloha, Tia Hartsock, Executive Director, Office of Wellness and Resilience in the Office of the Governor. I submitted late testimony. Apologies for that. Stand on my testimony in support of the Malama Ohana Working Group. In the resolution, there's also a bill for that, so we are hopeful that something will go through, and we'll have the opportunity to have a long discussion over the, hopefully, transformation and recommendations developed by community members in the state around reforming child welfare. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify. Aloha.
Thank you, Tia. Members, any questions? Seeing none. Okay, I'm going to call for a 5-minute recess. Good morning once again. This is the Committee on Human Services in 329 reconvening for decision-making. So up first, we have SCR 6. I suggest that we pass with amendments for clarity, consistency, and to ensure standards. I truly appreciate the testimony from Patricia Billick to remove CLC to ensure that stringent IBCLC requirements are met. I'm not opposed to including others at a future date once common standards are established. Therefore, I amend as follows on page 2, line 24 through 25, remove expanded the types of qualified providers. On page 2, line 27, add expand access to. And finally, on page 2, line 29 through 30, delete or certified lactation counselor certification. Chair, for the vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Recommendation by the Chair is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Bellotti is excused. Representative Ilagan.
Aye.
Representative Kobayashi.
Aye.
Representative Takeno Uchi.
Aye.
Representative Nishimoto is excused, as well as Representative Garcia. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, Chair. Moving on to SCR 51. I agree with the introducers in both the House and the Senate. I feel it is a moral obligation that we send these funds directly to the children receiving Social Security and their caregivers. I note that the DHS $500,000 shortfall created is only approximately 0.01% of the overall $4 billion DHS annual budget. Moreover, I note that the County of San Diego was sued for taking these funds, and we have a duty to protect the state as well as the children. I therefore suggest we pass this resolution unamended. Chair, for the vote, please.
Thank you. Recommendation by Chair.
Question.
Does this change include any language making sure that we don't go afoul of federal laws and requirements? There was something in.
There are no changes in
Okay.
this one.
All right, thank
It's
you.
as is. So yes, we should be covered.
Okay. Sorry. I was just reading something too fast. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, members, Chair's recommendation is to pass unamended, noting excused absences of Representatives Nishimoto and Garcia. Are there any noes or WRs? I've got Bellotti here, right?
Yes.
Belotti's here, yes.
Good morning.
Any, with the noted excused absences of Nishimoto and Garcia, any noes or WRs? Seeing none, Madam Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 55. TANF is under Section 401 of the Social Security Act 42 U.S.C. 601. And as such, my understanding that such federal fund usage for capital improvement projects is not permissible per 2 CFR Part 200, Section 200.439. Given the different TANF and HUD missions and requirements, I suggest we pass this with amendments. So therefore, I amend as follows on page 2, line 14, temporary assistance for needy families to be replaced with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Related to this, I note that the title should contain the subject matter, and as the agency is changed to HUD, the title should reflect this, and the title words be changed from temporary assistance for needy families to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Chair, please, Chair, for the vote.
Thank you very much. Chair's recommendation pass with amendments, noting the excused absences of Representatives Nishimoto and Garcia. Are there any no or WR votes? Seeing none, Madam Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, Chair. Moving on to SCR 88. I appreciate this excellent resolution from the Senate Health and Human Services Chair, San Buenaventura, and suggest we pass it as is. Mr. Chair, for the vote.
Thank you very much. Recommendation by Chair, pass unamended, noting the excused absences of both Representatives Nishimoto and Garcia. Are there any WRs or no votes? Seeing none, Madam Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
And for our final resolution on the bill, on the docket today, I appreciate this resolution from Chair Buenaventura as well, and suggest we also pass it as is. Mr. Chair, for the vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Recommendation by Chair, pass unamended, noting excused absence of both Representatives Nishimoto and Garcia. Are there any no votes or with reservation votes? Seeing none, Madam Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, members, for being here and for your votes. We are adjourned.